Hello everyone, my name is Conrad. On behalf of CameraStuff, hope you're doing pleasantly well tonight. Welcome to yet another episode of In the Limelight, where we look into the South African photographic industry and we find some interesting people to talk to. So tonight we are talking to immensely talented photographer Jabulani Nnaocha, and just to show you what he is capable of, let me just quickly share his Instagram feed so you can get a bit of a taste as to what the man is capable of. So here we go. So you can see a big following as well. Great stuff all around. And as per normal, the link is provided in the comment section. So please do follow our guest as well. So in the meantime, if you're just joining, as per normal, drop your name in the comment section. Tell me where you're from, and I'll give you a bit of a shout out from my end. So I think without further ado, let's introduce our guest.
Yeah,
Hello there, Jabulani. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well on yourself.
I'm doing perfectly well. Thank you so much. What have you been up to today?
Long day. Just came from a shoot, so I had to hop in the live right now, and then just back to edit again.
Okay, gosh, yeah. What did the shoot entail?
It was I'd say content creation for Vogue. So they
Oh,
had
wow. Okay.
influencers come through. So shooting it for the past 2 days, yesterday and today. So yeah, I can't wait to share those images as well. Some clean content. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Yeah. So, if people want to see what you've been up to and obviously get a taste of your entire portfolio, the link has been provided in the comment section. Let me just do that again. And as a reminder, if you are watching, do drop your name and where you're from in the comment section, and it will pop up. Sorry, in this box over here. So I'm just getting my bearings right. Over here. So drop
Yeah.
us a comment or two or a question or two, and we can get a bit of a conversation going. All right,
Awesome.
Jabulani, I think let's get started with a normal first question that I always ask is, how did you get into photography? What propelled you into the world of picking up a camera and taking photos of people?
Well, I started at church. I mean, I joined the media team because there was like some guys that needed help. Just in them, just lend a helping hand. You know, where there's some. So few years passed while I was helping. Got hang of the camera. He shoot video, photos as well, handheld. So then I never saw it as something I'll do in future. So college started, and then my friend was like, "Yo, bro, I got a camera. Let's try see what we can do at the streets." So we used to walk around, find people, shoot for free, and then I started charging 100 rands, 50 rands, and then from there, well, it was his camera, so I never owned one till my mom bought one, and that was like a hustle to
Oh,
get
well.
one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it was interesting how many photographers kind of just fall into the world of photography, trying to help out someone, and obviously wanting to borrow someone's camera just to get going, and charging very little to begin with. But look at you now, flourished into a brilliant photographer as you are, with a huge following, a great portfolio as well, and shooting for Vogue, no less, as well. So congratulations! It's been, by the sounds of it, an amazing journey, and yeah, we're gonna get into that with this
It's
interview as well. So
yeah,
congratulations. So we're gonna pry your mind if you don't mind. So,
yeah.
what camera was it that you borrowed initially? What was your first camera? And if you don't mind me asking, what are you using now?
So the first camera I used was a Canon 250D, 200D, somewhere there. Yeah, and a kit lens, some weird setup, but yeah, we managed to pull it. So right now I'm using the Canon R8 and Sigma 24 to 70. Also have a 35 Sigma and an 85 millimeters coming very soon. So just waiting for that one to come so I can test it out.
Okay, in terms of lighting, what is normally in a kit bag for you? So, Either shooting on location or in studio, what type of lighting do you normally use?
So mostly on location. Usually on natural light.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a natural light kind of person. Love natural light. Where there's an opportunity for natural light, I always take it compared to artificial. Most of my photos natural light, but since I got the 8600, and shooting during 12 noon where the sun is like
Yes.
overhead, you can't actually do natural light unless you have like a screen or something, and you can't carry a screen to every shoot you have.
Yeah,
So
of course, yeah.
8600 on location with a 120 modifier, and for studio the 8600 Pro. Yeah, 8600 Pro. So usually around two light setup. If it calls for it, four, but usually stick to two. Just keep it simple. They focus on composition more than the lighting, how many
Yeah,
lights you have. Yeah,
yeah, makes
so
complete sense.
that's usually my setup for outdoor and studio.
All right, so I want to talk about this shift from natural light to using the 8600, that being a powerful 600-watt strobe. So,
Yeah.
what is the balance like? How often do you use natural light, and what would be the big reason to use natural light above flash, and vice versa? You already mentioned it when working with 12 p.m. light, when you have the light overhead and you have the shadows on the face. That's a good reason to use
True.
flash then. But any other reasons? So, firstly, let's start off with what draws you towards natural light? What reasons would you choose natural light over flash? And we'll get to the second question
Um,
after.
so with natural lights, it's much easier to actually get the shot. You don't focus on what's your power like and all of that, and you have like freedom of movement. With a strobe, you have to carry that thing from left to right, back.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
my power is not high enough, low enough. So reason why I love natural light is because of the flexibility it has. And right now with the line, how the job is going, clients call you at some 12, 11, 10, 1, and you can't explain to them, no, you can't shoot during that time because the sun is above my head, and all of that. Because, yeah, so the 8600 is a big help for that kind of thing. So that's why I had to get it, because of my clients, to prevent the back and forth of let's change times to two, let's change times to five, let's change times to four. So natural light, I usually use it around 4, 5 there when it's almost sunset. So yeah, that's my setup so far. But yeah, the 8600 is a good light. Yeah, you definitely should get it for client work, and flexibility, avoid excuses for concerning
Yeah, I
time.
think that's a very good word that you used there, flexibility. Now, I've heard many photographers say they absolutely refuse to shoot 12 p.m., 1 p.m. because of that harsh sunlight that they get,
Yeah,
but they're
facts,
not always
facts.
in a position to decline work, obviously. And plus, people may want the slightly harder light as well as part of the mood and theme as well. So flexibility around the gear that you're using, when to use gear, when not to use gear, it all revolves around ultimately what you want and what your client wants on the
True,
day. So it's not a case of one
100%.
versus the other. It's about using what is necessary on the
It's
day, and
necessary on the
also
day. Yeah,
and
100%.
conditions permitting as well. Yeah. So this big argument about natural light versus artificial light can become a little bit annoying because, as I said, it's not an arm wrestling match between the two. It's
Arm
about
wrestling
mixing
match,
the two. Yeah, it's
mixing two
about
together.
using the two together. Yeah. So in other words, to balance the natural lights with the artificial lights.
Very
That's the
true.
trick.
Very
Very
true.
true. Yeah.
So,
So yeah, go
so
ahead.
f- like the thing between natural light and strobe, it doesn't really matter, because the only reason is just that to avoid that raccoon eye thing, where if you're shooting a female, obviously with the long lashes, you have shadows under the eyes, under the nose, so it doesn't look pleasant. So there's a way to balance your ambience with lighting up your subjects to kind of look natural, not too stroby. So that's why just had to get it, and it saves me a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah. Although natural light. If there's an opportunity for natural light, I'll obviously take it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So shooting 5 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning, maybe even a little bit earlier, and waiting
mm,
for your sunsets as well. As you mentioned, 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. sometimes. Yeah. It's when the light is good, it's good, and it can provide absolutely stunning light as well, especially here in Africa, to
yeah,
get that uniquely African look as well. Using a flash, I think what can happen is everybody's photos start looking the same. So with a bit of natural
facts,
light mixed up in the equation here and there, it just helps you to capture a bit of uniqueness that people resonate
uniqueness.
with, especially from an African point of view. Now, I was asked a long time ago what can be described as an African portrait, and my answer was it has a lot to do with the light. Now, so instead of trying to mimic what the fancy soft light that Europeans and Asians may get. Now we need to embrace the natural light here as well to create something that looks a bit unique and something that we can resonate with too as well. So I see that a
True.
lot in your work, and well done from that point of view.
Yeah, and also, yeah, harsh light is also a nice one to try because, as you say, with the African look, most photographers out in the African side, or say West, the Ghanaians, the Nigerians, or whatever, they usually utilize LED lights most of the time because it gives it that nice brown tone when you point it direct. So harsh light is also another one it's a very good lighting. I'm also trying to understand it a bit. So, but it's a good lighting as well.
Now, photography is a fascinating topic. There are many ways to go about it and to
Yeah, a
capture
lot of
something
ways.
that you want on a day. So it's not a case of always following a recipe or someone else's ingredients in a manner of speaking. Like you have to discover your own path as well, and go after something that not only speaks to you, but will obviously speak to your audience as well.
True, very true.
All right. So, what is your favorite photographic genre, and why do you enjoy it the most?
I'd say my genre. I'd say fashion. Fashion. I enjoy fashion a lot because it gives you that say opportunity to be creative, showing off the outfits, showing off the model themselves, being creative. So I love being in that creative space where I'm able to create unique, different styles based off what the model is wearing and how the model is in the appearance. So complementing the appearance and I'd say the outfits. Yeah, it's a dream with good location. Like for the past few days, like today actually, yeah, those images are fire. So that I really enjoy that. That's yeah, I really enjoy that.
With fashion, it's also a case of collaborating with different talents as well. So it's just this boiling pot of creative minds coming together, not only from obviously you, the photographer, but wardrobe stylist, hairstylist, makeup stylist, all of these working together to create that stunning image. It's always great working with other people and bouncing
True.
ideas, and to get something that was planned beforehand, which is, by the way, my next question. Just to that final result. It's a fascinating process. So, on that note, how do you go about conceptualizing for a photo shoot, and how do you make sure that everybody that you're working with is on the same page as well?
So usually communication with the client is very important, or your model subject is very important to get to know who they are, so that during the day of the shoots doesn't feel awkward. And creating mood boards, inspiration, sharing it with the client as well. Not only just coming up with the idea and just sending it and say, okay, this is what we're doing, but also let the client have, I'll say not the client, maybe the model have that opportunity to also have criticism in the mood board, so you can have a blend of your idea and the client's idea. So when it comes to actual shoots, both of you are comfortable doing the project. So most of my shoots, that's how I plan them, so that during the day it's much more simple. Even other things can come up, and then like, okay, let's incorporate this, get the client feedback, the model feedback, put it together. Two heads are better than one.
Yes.
So it's just adding to your own creativity as well. in the mood board. So it's mostly creating mood boards and YouTube as well. So just mixing a blend of different ideas to create something different.
Yeah, everything that should be expected on a day ought to be established prior to the day. Sorry, that's my dog barking. Hey, well, she'll quiet down in a moment. She's probably seeing a ghost or something. Hey, bouncer. No, she's very
Yeah.
old, so she mostly deaf, so she can't hear me.
Oh, I
Mostly
see. I
blind
see.
as
I
well,
see.
so I don't
I
know
see. I
what
see. I see.
exactly she's barking at. Maybe a ghost or two, but I'll just give it a moment. She's having a bit of a spell here. So,
Got you. Got you.
all
Got you.
right. So, yeah, just on topic. Everything that needs but is expected on a day ought to be established prior to the day. So, no surprises on a day. Hopefully not. Nobody should be unaware as to what's happening on a day. So, a lot of communication beforehand is absolutely
A
necessary. Obviously,
lot.
on a day you can mix and change a couple of things depending on
Mm,
the direction or the flow. Something
mm,
organic may spring up in terms of a new pose or a new look, but yeah, definitely a lot of communication required beforehand, so everybody's on the
a
same
lot.
page. No surprises on the day. That's a very good
Yeah.
advice, Bear. All right, so
Very good
a couple of
advice.
questions from the audience. I don't know if you can see them. So from
Yeah.
Philemon, firstly, in terms of African, how do you think one can get but chocolate-rich skin texture?
So that's basically just depends on the lighting. Also the lighting and temperature. Lighting and temperature. Make sure you do not overexpose. Yeah, just keep it what you see in the camera. Just make sure it's perfect in camera. So when it goes to the editing tab, play with those sliders. I usually play with my oranges and reds to try get that rich skin tone you're referring to. And also on location, make sure you get the shots. That's my number one rule. I've been telling most of the people just make sure less editing after your shoot. So on location, make sure you get that shot how you'd want it, maybe close to how you'd want it. So when you bring it in post, it's just the slight things that you do that brings out those tones. I don't really do much in my editing. Mostly on my hue, saturation, luminance sliders, the reds and the oranges, a little bit of the yellows, and then you can also use your camera calibration to just mix and match. So those two parts on Lightroom do actually help a lot when editing and trying to get those tones. And also your lighting. If you try your harsh lighting on a dark skin model, you get those tones. So it also matters who you're shooting. If you're shooting a light skinned person, you won't be able to get those tones that you're referring to. It's usually those dark skin models that you'd be able to get those tones. Yeah.
Yeah, so very important what you said regarding color temperature as well. So that obviously being the color of the light source itself and how you
Mm,
match it in camera with white balance as well. So now one could start off with a neutral base in a manner of speaking. So if you're working with white light, you can choose your daylight or flash white balance setting. But obviously in post you can tinker a little bit, as you said, just slide the colors, the reds and yellows, over which way until you get exactly what you want.
true.
Yeah, but definitely on location, using the right lighting and white balance will help you a lot in terms of post processing also.
100%. 100%.
All right, what else we got here? So, if one wants to learn lighting from you, what can one do? I am new to the lighting game. So, this from Buang, another commenter. So, thank you guys for dropping your comments and questions. Please do drop that in the comment section. We can see it here as well. So, we can start a bit of a conversation. So,
Yeah.
how
Coming.
does one learn about lighting from you? Do you plan on doing any workshops, or do you invite people to
Um,
message you, drop a DM maybe?
yeah, I don't mind you sending a message and then sending me a picture, and then we try work together and see how that shot was shot and see what lighting was there. But in future, we're planning actually next year to do a workshop to bring
Nice.
photographers in, try and then educate them in parts that they need in, for example, your lighting and how to shoot weddings, events, fashion, and all our corporates. So we'll have different people come in, not only me, other people who specialize in like different parts that I've mentioned. Yeah, so train people in places that they need, like train people in everything, so they're equipped and then see what works for them out there. You know, so that's our plan for next year. Lighting will be covered, wedding will be covered, corporates will be covered, uh, concerts, how to shoot concerts, and all of that. So we'll bring photographers who are in that industry together, and then try to learn from them, and then see what the future holds when you go out to the world.
Okay,
Yeah,
that sounds very exciting. Yeah, keen to see when you start planning and scheduling first workshops. If you need a bit of help from CameraStuff, just drop us a message as well. Yeah, so I think something that you
no problem.
mentioned is quite a fascinating topic to me. Learning about photography that goes beyond photography. So what I mean by that
Mm,
is learning about fashion and posing and styling and makeup, etc., bringing the entire picture together. From a photographer's point of view, we think it's just camera and lighting, but mixing all of these extra elements in and knowing a lot about it as well will just help
mm.
out your photography. So it's good job, with the workshop getting into those areas as well. I
Yeah,
think it is something many photographers end up neglecting.
actually need. So yeah,
Uh,
so we sat down about it, thought about it, and I was once in that situation where I needed help, and I mean, a lot of people don't have time for that to help you because, yeah, it does get hectic as you grow as a photographer. But we want to set up workshops where people are able to learn not only in one part of the whole photography industry, have like different kinds of photography in one whole package. One whole workshop can be for a week. So we'll plan it for that 1 week, bring people in, make sure that you benefit from it because there's a lot of opportunity out there in different industry. Photography is not just fashion, not just corporate. There's a lot weddings, so you can find yourself shooting more weddings, corporate stuff. Um, your YouTube stuff is also part of it as well. So it's something we really thought about and then trying to give back to the people who were in the same situation as us.
Okay, absolutely perfect. I can to see when you start scheduling those. To uh, get an idea as to when that's going to happen, please do follow our guest. So the link to his Instagram is provided. So do click on that. Follow our guest tonight. If you want to stay in touch regarding for workshops in the near future. Right. So comment here. Aish, I forgot my headphones. Did I miss much? Didn't miss a lot. But you can
Yeah.
restart this live from the beginning. So if you're on YouTube, you can go all the way to the beginning. In addition to that, you can watch from the beginning afterwards as well. So this video is going to stay on YouTube. So if you have missed anything at the beginning, you can always rewatch that at some later stage. All right. So from
And
Elias here,
also,
Mr.
yeah,
Regular. Yes, go ahead.
uh, yeah, and also the reason why we bring in the workshop thing in is because we see a lot of international people do it, but in Africa, in like especially South Africa, where the market of photography is huge, there's nothing like that happening. So we're trying to bring photographers together and then try grow as a whole collective.
That's an interesting topic. Yeah, I think we still have hangovers about the
Mm,
pandemic and COVID. Yeah, so plenty of workshops prior, but I think people got used to the quote unquote school of YouTube, where they prefer sitting with your
mm,
smartphone and learning there. But it's obviously not the same thing as hands on experience and
mm,
listening to people and obviously asking them questions and having them answered right then and there and having experience with gear in hand and allowing people to help you on the day just by moving a light or changing a setting,
mm.
getting immediate response out of people. Yeah, so the workshops have gone slightly out of fashion, but they are resuscitating as we speak. Yeah, so
True.
plenty still to come. And yeah, it's good that you're on board as well.
Yeah.
All right, so what is the one thing that you wish you knew before starting taking photos?
One thing I knew before starting taking photos. It's actually my ISO. I used to be scared
Mm-hmm.
of pumping that ISO. Yeah.
Yes.
So recently, I've been cranking that thing up because cameras these days, when it comes to ISO, they're really good compared to the old ones. So don't be afraid to play with your ISO. You're not limited to 800 ISO or 1000. You can go up to your 5000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just make sure you are in the
So you
safe
say you
spot.
started with the, yeah, go ahead.
Don't end up going to your hundred and something thousands and then you
Oh
see a
yeah, of
lot of
course.
noise there. Yeah. But yeah, 5,000 is still safe for these modern cameras. They're actually good ISO.
So you say you started with a 250D. I had a similar camera starting out as well, and you couldn't really
Mm.
go above ISO 400. So I think starting with such cameras, it
Yeah,
kind of
the
conditions you to stay away from the higher ISOs. But now with the
facts.
fancy new cameras, as you said,
Yeah.
going to ISO 5000 has a negligible impact
Mm.
on the image. There's still a bit of noise, but that can be rescued in
You're
post
good in
afterwards.
post
Yeah.
facts. Or
So it's
sometimes you
a
don't even see it, eh? Or
mm,
sometimes you don't even see those because the image is going to social media, so you can't actually zoom in and then see
of
it.
course, yeah.
So yeah, by the time it reaches social media, the quality also reduces to avoid you doing those reduction things. But yeah, the ISO is your best friend.
That's very underrated for ISO. Just cranking that up just to allow a faster shutter speed and playing around with
Mm.
your apertures as well. As I said, starting out afraid to boost that ISO, but now it's such a nice little um, what's it, safety net to use
Safety
on
net,
the occasion.
yeah, facts.
All right, so good compliments here. So from Philemon as well. Okay, thank you. I've been following your work a lot. Man, you inspire me a lot as well. I just, sorry, this thing's moving. I just love how you balance your contrast and exposure. That's a pat on the back,
I
man.
just
You are
love
very,
it.
very good. You can be proud of
Oh,
your
thank
journey
you.
and your portfolio.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you,
So I'm
thank
starting
you.
with the 7D Mark II. I hope it is good for a beginner. Yeah, certainly. Now my sister upgraded from the 350D to a 7D at one point, and
Mm.
the 7D is a tank. It's a
Yeah.
great camera to use. It's very, very durable and very, very much capable. So you'd be happy with that 7D Mark II.
Facts. 70 Mark II is a beast of a camera.
All right. So question from my side. Besides the workshop, what else is in the pipeline? What is in store as far as Jabulani or Jabu Pix is concerned for the near future?
So in future, so it's the workshop part and also like having people to also mentor to also learn in the journey as well. Also put them in the spots where not only they learning but also shooting these events and corporates. So try and put them in the industry so they can learn in person as well. So also have an agency where I bring these photographers in and work. So yeah, that's something I have going on recently. So a lot of photographers will be able to have that connection between clients and themselves. So yeah, just
All right.
yeah.
So the word mentor is a fascinating one to me. In your own words, what makes a good mentor? And if you want to be mentored, what are the first steps that you need to take? Like, how do you get in touch with a mentor? So let's start off with question number one. What makes a good
Okay.
mentor?
Makes a good mentor is a person who is able to respond genuinely to every answer, not to divert you the wrong way because they want to get the bag alone, but give you genuine answers, find fault in what you're doing, and then try rectify it. If maybe I'd say you're not used to using Flash, but you have to use Flash, mentor you in that certain areas. Business wise as well, that's one thing I wish I had to learn earlier. It's not just photography. If you try to further it, it's also learn the business part. So try advising the business part as well, and questions that the person has. I know the industry can get hectic at time where you don't have time to respond, but yeah, a good mentor is one that always makes time, even though he has a lot going on.
Yeah, so stuff that you mentioned earlier is about helping people out who are or were in a similar position to yourself. So having the same background, having the same journey as far as your photographic careers are concerned. So I think a key word here, as far as a great mentor is concerned, is that of empathy. So
Mm.
understanding a person from their personal point of view, their background, starting off with limited gear because you were in that position as well. So a guy that has the Porsches and the Lamborghinis and whatnot don't strictly make great mentors because they don't
Mm.
have the same background and they kind of shot up there immediately and had the money
Immediately,
to
yeah.
buy fancy cameras. Yeah, so having the journey behind you or still in that journey yourself, you can recognize where other people are in terms of their own
Yeah,
personal journeys and you can just help guide them along. Obviously, not to create mini me versions of you, but to help them flourish, in their own
as
unique
well.
way.
Yeah. So most people flourish in different departments. Yours must be shooting
Absolutely, yeah.
cars. Yours might be shooting just weddings. Some just events. So even if we are able to mentor you or teach you, you have to find your own path and what
Absolutely, yeah.
actually
So very
helps you.
important. A very
Mm.
important point for you to make. All right. So questions from the audience. So among the photographic gear that you have purchased, is there anything you wish you hadn't bought? Interesting question. Yeah. So do you have something in your kit bag or something lying in the corner that you wish that you haven't bought, and for any reason, if you don't mind sharing why?
Mm, what? Uh, well, for me, the thing is that I'm not. I didn't come from a family that has. I don't come from a family that has a lot of money. So if I do get money, I make sure it has to be worth the purchase. You know. So I wasn't sponsored a lot in this thing. So I do most of the sponsoring myself. So where the money goes has to bring back money. So I don't have anything on me that I don't actually use. I actually use most of the things I've bought. Yeah, yeah.
So sorry, I forgot my second part of my previous question. So I asked what would be a good mentor, but obviously from a mentee's position, if you want to be mentored, what is the first steps that you need to take? How do you get in touch with mentors? Because it's something Andrew Basson. Hello, Andrew. How are you doing? Thank you for joining it again. Mentoring is different. Hard to find people that actually want to be mentored these days. That's an interesting point.
Mm,
Most just want to mentor to line work up for them, oddly enough. Yes. Yeah,
yeah.
so.
So I'd say if you want to find a mentor, you as a person who is looking to get a mentor, you have to have the passion for it. It's not just for you to get the money. If that's your goal at the very beginning, or to just go up from a certain mentor that has like had steps, it's going to be very difficult because the industry, you can put you on right now to go shoot the events, but if you mess up, they won't recommend you again. So it has to be come from a place that it's something you love. You know, if it's something you love, it will show in how dedicated you want to learn. Most people hit me up just to get in connection, but it's not just the connection part, it's the passion. The passion drives the outcome.
Yeah, so
Passion
willingness to
drives.
learn, the willingness to, um, making, put in hard yards as well. Yeah, so just don't start off from a blank space and expect mentors to give you a lot of time.
To a lot
Mentors
of
themselves
time.
are very, very busy as well. So don't just
True.
drop them an Instagram message and say, "Hey, mentor me, please." Like it's a bit of a process. So you have to be there and thereabouts already in terms of your own photography.
Photography, yeah.
And
Yeah.
also
Try.
the humility and the humbleness that needs to come with it too. Obviously, you can't compete necessarily speaking. You can create conversations and debate, obviously, around certain techniques and talking points, but I think sometimes people get a little bit too egotistical from both ends, from the mentor and the mentee's point of view. So just a bit
Mentees,
of
yeah.
humility ought to be spread around these days as well.
These days, yeah, it's not easy, I'd say. It's not easy to find a good mentor out there.
All right. So I think what we can do is jump into your photos. So I think we're 35 minutes in. So if you
Yeah.
don't mind, I'm just going to start off a slideshow here. So what we normally do in this section, sorry, chat, I have to hide you now, but don't worry, I can still see your comments. So what we do in this section, we allow our guests to just talk about their images. So they sent us a handful of images. So just in terms of what gear they used, what uh, what went on behind the scenes with all of these particular images. So Jabulani, the floor is yours.
So this was a client actually.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she wanted a birthday shoot. So I'm like, okay, cool. This was not part of the plan, but yeah, I just spot that pose and then like, okay, cool. Let's stick with that. I mean, I and then the camera I used here was my previous camera. It was the Canon RP, a very good photo camera. I love the sensor in the camera, and I had the Tamron 24 to 70. Quite a lot of lights I used here, eh? So one main light and one backlight from the left hand side. As you can see the rim from the balloon. And then I had one on the right hand side just for her back to light up her back because I had one main light from the left pointed 90 degrees down towards her. So shadows are going to be casted like at the back. So had one more just to fill in, that side. So it was like kind of like three light setup and and then also used a lot of Lightroom. This was not even retouched, but yeah, just Lightroom did that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is the one of the trickiest things to shoot is the white backdrop, getting that pure whiteness out of the backdrop. So as you mentioned, you needed to use more than two lights. So lights aimed at the backdrop itself, just to get that even whiteness to the backdrop. So here you need to separate the backdrop lights from your subject. In other words, the
Yeah.
lights, as I said, need to be aimed at the backdrop itself. So none of that can go to your model. And so this is about setting up your lights very carefully, and you did a fantastic job here. Well done. So a question I
Yeah.
have
Thank you.
is, how do you make people feel comfortable? Now, how do you get organic, natural poses out of people? What tips and tricks do you have to share with us?
So first of all, as I mentioned at the very, very beginning, it's a communication with the client or model. Get to know them not too deep, just get to know who they are in person. And also, when you get on set, music also helps calm the clients. I usually tell my clients to play the whole playlist so I can steal some music from there. So they do play music that they're comfortable with that helps them get in the vibe as well. So, and also tell them to just be themselves behind the camera. It's not easy. Yeah, this is my first time being pointed at the camera for a very long time, so I can. Yeah, it's not easy, but uh, definitely the music helps calm the client down, and communication with the client also it's a big part. That also influence in the clients.
Yeah, definitely a persistent stream of communication is necessary. And
100.
perhaps in your experience as well, you may know that you get different people. Some people like to be the
Mm,
energy in a room. Some people like to feed off energy. So if you're dealing
mm,
with the people who lack a bit of energy on a day, you have to create the energy from scratch so that the person can, as I said, get the good vibes
be
from you. But sometimes people they bring the energy, and you just have to match on a day. You can't
match the
compete with that
energy.
person's. Yeah. So it's about figuring out quickly what type of person you're working with on a day.
Looking
Is
with
it an energy maker or an energy feeder? So just about figuring out that quickly enough.
figure
If
it
you're dealing
out
with a
that
shy,
part.
introverted type, you have to make it happen on a
Do a
day.
lot of
You have to
work.
provide the energy, yes, and that person will match
Yeah,
your energy on a day. But if
and
it's
it's
vice versa, it's just about not competing with the energy makers.
facts. And also as a photographer, it's one thing I had to learn was also to be able to talk and be more extrovert. So it's I was usually a person who would be more introvert, not want to talk too much. But with clients, you need to always talk to them, make them feel comfortable. Comment that's okay. I love this shot. Show them the photo as well. Helps them be more comfortable. The more because remember we used to take in they used to take in selfies. If you're shooting a film, they used to take in selfies, so they see themselves like, oh, this is nice. So they keep snapping, snapping, snapping. So as a photographer, you snap, also show them. Don't be afraid to show them. Show them they like it. You'd see they'll want to shoot some more, even though they're shy. many of the people who say they're shy are the ones who end up doing the actual good poses. But yeah, show your clients, and if there's few adjustments that they want, just do it and then show them again. If they're happy, everybody's happy in the room. So yeah.
Now, very important points there to make. So let's see what else we got in the comments section. Now, I see Jay and Andrew are having a bit of a discussion about who needs to mentor who there. Okay, sorry. Look. All right, so this is a follow-up question to making people feel comfortable in the day. It's important to show people the images. It happens 9 times out of 10 when a person's a little bit quiet, introverted, a bit within themselves. As soon as you show them the picture, they just
Oh,
immediately
different
spark into
person.
go mode. Yeah, it's a different person right thereafter. So just take your photos. As soon as you recognize that winner,
That one, yeah,
that one, quickly show the model, and it just immediately
yeah,
creates
loosens them
fire. It
up.
creates fire. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what else we got in terms of photos here.
Mm,
All right, so in terms of studio lighting, you mentioned that you have the 8600. What else you got? And also, what is your favorite modifier to use if you have such a thing, or is it just the horses for courses type of thing?
it just depends on my shoot, because this
Mm,
one here, it was 8600, but it was some setup I learned from YouTube. So I just want to get that natural feel that you feel like it's coming from a window. So it just depends. Just what matters is how you want the image to look based on the mood board you've created. So, for example, the previous one was more direct, and this one was I had a V flat at the side and pointed my 80s, the 8600 on it, and it had to bounce from that 8600, from that V flat to the model from the left hand side. So the shadows are not too harsh. So that was my only light source. So it feels like there was a window at her left hand side. But yeah,
makes sense.
it
I
just
see lots
depends
of
on.
questions. See
Yeah,
a
it
lot of
just
questions
depends.
here.
Depends
Okay,
on
sorry.
depend.
You talk.
Sorry.
No
Just
worries.
depend. It depends on like what shot you're trying to achieve, what field you're trying to achieve. That's why mood boards is very important. So you know what lighting it is, and also you get to see what works and what doesn't work.
All right, so I see questions here and comments about tapering. All right, so we're going to keep that on ice, Andrew and Jay. Just going to talk about tapering just in a moment. So just bear with us. So in terms of light modifiers on the day, it's absolutely true what you say. It depends on the overall mood and quality of light that you want to create on a day. Do you want to describe to people what a V flat is? I think that
So
may be a bit of
if
an unknown thing here in South Africa because you don't
yeah,
normally get them, and so you have to kind of make your own.
make them yourself. Yeah. So a V flat is like a white board, white huge board. So when they say V flat, it's usually two boards in this kind of angle. So this is gonna be one board, and then just make it kind of like a V, like that. So just two boards together make it a V flat. So um, you actually make it at home, but yeah. So it's two white poly boards put together,
Yeah.
or black put together, and then they open up like that, so you can actually bounce lights. Usually, you have your poly board at the left if you have doing portraits, or in the right. In order for you to make it a V flat, you just stick it up together like that, and then you should be good.
Yeah, so it's one of the top 10 questions that we receive at CameraStuff is looking at stock V flats. They're impossible to ship. So very,
Yeah,
very difficult to ship. They break in the process. So
true.
as mentioned, you can make some at home. So go to a builder's warehouse or any construction website or place, buy a couple of big polyboards. So as mentioned, you kind of tape the two
The
together
two,
and it
yeah.
creates a bit of a
That,
V shape. So you can open it up or you can position it in a V so it's freestanding. So you don't typically need stands to go with it. And you can paint one side black and the other side
yeah, the
white.
white, yeah.
So you can use it as a reflector or a massive flag as well. So incredibly useful these flats. It's not, unfortunately, you don't really get the quote unquote professional ones, but the do-it-yourself ones do just as good of a job.
Yeah, they do. They do.
All
That's
right.
one of
So
my favorite photos. Those
I
are
love this.
yeah.
So so you shot into the V flat, hey?
Yeah, shot into the V flat, had to
Okay.
bounce so you get that natural light
Yeah. So kind
kind of
of
feel.
like a big, massive umbrella.
Massive
So
umbrella.
yeah. So when people think of a 180 centimeter being big, so the V flat is
Yeah,
bigger than that big umbrella. So it
very
provides
big.
this very, very soft light. So as you said, it mimics window light very nicely here.
True.
All right, tapering. Let's please both Jane and Andrew here wanted to talk about tapering. Is it something that you normally do? Would you say yes to it or no to it? Because I think the argument here is: do you shoot tapering and allow the people to look at the photos on as you shoot? Because I have a couple of opinions here as well.
So I'd say it depends what you're shooting. If you're shooting e-commerce fashion catalog or something, the clients do have to see, you know. But if you're shooting personal stuff, it's just up to you. It doesn't really matter if you shooting tethering. But thing with tethering, it slows down your flow a lot because you have a lot of eyes in the work and people commenting on, oh, they don't like how this part looks, or so it does slow down a lot. But certain clients do require for you to do tethering, so it just depends on what you're working with. But I don't tether a lot, eh?
Now, I tried a
Yeah.
tethering in the last couple of months, and incredibly useful it can be. But in my
Mm.
experience of late, people typically don't want to see themselves when it comes to those awkward shoots in between. So yes, you create that stunning photo, but every now and then you have the eyes closed and awkward positions and whatnot, or they're not in perfect position, but that may not look flattering, and the model may see all of these photos and it may just
Mm.
deflate them a little bit. So as
A little
mentioned
bit.
earlier, I tend to look at the winning shot, and that's the shot I'll show the model.
Show
That's
them
the one that will
100%.
create a bit of spark. Yeah. And as you
The
said, I think
best.
that's also a good point. It does slow down things as well, not only in terms of the download speed, but if everybody wants to have a look and everybody is browsing the photos and having a lot of comments, that
Yeah,
can be useful to an extent, but it can slow things down
you
as
slow
well.
down the whole process and your flow. You end up getting tired of the whole back and forth. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think it's useful if you have Yeah, go ahead.
if the client do require, if they want to see it, because usually big brands, if you're shooting for your well-known brands, you're shooting a whole catalog of clothing that want to see what's coming out and make those adjustments. But yeah, for clients, uh, I wouldn't suggest it. Just depends, you know.
That makes sense, having the right eyes looking at it. Yeah. So from a corporate point of view, having a corporate representative there just
Mm,
to see if everything is going well.
going
Obviously,
well, yeah,
eyes on the laptop at all times, and having your assistants there as well to see if something
true.
may
Is
be
wrong.
wrong in the images. I don't know, maybe a stain on a t-shirt or something of the sort, something that you may not have noticed immediately, but obviously on a laptop or on a big screen TV, that will just look more obvious. Yeah, so it's pros and cons either way. So it's a personal preference. I typically don't show models all of the photos because you're going to have your howlers in between here and there,
Yeah,
and it may deflate the model on the day. But definitely, if you're doing corporate and if you have a lot of people involved, yeah, you need to provide eyes on the images. So
you need
tapering is a
eyes on the
very good idea
image.
from that point of view.
Yeah, because usually if you're doing huge gigs, it's a lot of money to invest in this, so that you don't want to always come back and reshoot it. Well, because sometimes it's just a one-time day thing where they book makeup artists and all of these things. So to the clients, it's an expense, and with bigger budget projects, you always have to show your clients. So we all have the same agreement when the image is taken. Yeah.
I just want to quickly elaborate. If you're shooting a professional model, then they don't mind seeing the unflattering photos. They've seen it all, right? But if you're
Yeah,
shooting just a person who wants to have nice photos taken of them, then typically don't
Ah,
show them all of the photos on a day.
yeah,
When it comes to
you don't have
professional
to.
models, as I said, they have seen all of the unflattering poses and angles and whatnot, so they're not deterred by that at all. So again, it
True.
just all depends on who you're shooting on a day.
Depends who you're shooting on the day.
All right. So a bit of outdoor photography. So was the 8600 used here, or was this natural light?
There was natural light.
Nice.
Natural light, yeah. Natural light. So as you can see, light. So the sun at this point, it's a nice. This was shot around 3, 4 there. So that time the sun is like a nice soft box, and also the surrounding is white, so it also fills in that shadow. So yeah, natural light.
All right. So with natural light, how do you go about finding the right angles and whatnot? May sound a little bit bleatingly obvious to say, but in terms of looking for leading lines and shapes and whatnot, now what's the top five things that you normally look out for?
So when you get on set and you want to shoot natural light, number one, just be there at the right time. Right time usually from 4, 3, 4, 3 is a bit too early. Maybe 3:34 onwards, or in the morning around 9, 10, 11 there, because now the light source is more directional. You have it's more than 45 degrees, so you're gonna use your light as just imagine your light as a soft box, and then just position it like how you would use it if you how you'd position a model if you had like a strobe with you. So just take that light as a softbox. So at 3, the sun is here. So you have to also move your model around, see how the sun reacts with the shadows on the model's face. So have them do a 360. You'd see how the shadows play, during that time. And then if you see a nice composition, nice like angle, use that angle as much as you can, and then just try find lines around here. So this part, this for example, this one, as you can see, the shadow that's being cast behind her, the light was more than 45 degrees. So I had her also like position her head up a bit so that it doesn't create shadows under the eyes. So if she position more straight, it fills in those shadows. So the head position also matters if you're shooting natural light as well. So yeah, that's
Now,
it with natural light.
interesting point that you made about moving on your feet around the model quite often, trying to find the best angles, not only in terms of the model's angles, obviously, but also in terms of the angle of light. If you want to
Mm,
shoot with a rim light or side light, top light, whatever. So you need to be
mm.
busy. You need to walk around your model to find that. And I think from a flash perspective, it can make us a little bit lazy because you can just put the light in
Yeah,
position and
like
just
the
sit on a chair and just continue shooting. I'm exaggerating, so don't come at me. I'm exaggerating. I'm just poking a little bit of fun here. But I think that is the fascinating thing about not only shooting with natural light, but with a prime lens as well. So 50
mm,
millimeter or 100 millimeter, it just forces you in the right angles and
to move
makes you
around,
look around a little bit and to see different angles and different things
see
around the
different angles.
environment as well.
Facts. I mean, the good thing here is that once you find that angle, your model can move anywhere she wants, just based off that angle. You just have
That's also
a
true, yes.
constant light. So with the flash, now you have to move to another place. Now it has shadows. You have to bring your lights, try and get the power. Just shoot. Now you have to balance ambience, and so it's a lot of work with flash at times. But yeah, natural light is quite it.
All right, so here, shooting indoors again. Do you want to tell us a little bit
Mm.
about this shoot?
So this was my 8600, and I had LED reflector. LED reflector. I don't know if people know what an LED reflector is. The light reflector. It's like a silver thing. I have it here. I don't want to take it off my light, so I do that.
Yep, go ahead. Please do.
So it's gonna affect my light, but this is something like
That's fine.
this.
Ah, very underrated, that little reflector dish.
This is a powerful thing here. So
Tell us a bit
um
more.
so I had it on my 8600, but it was pointed up to the white ceiling. And so what happens there is that it becomes your ceiling become like a whole huge light source. That has been my recent go-to light source anytime I see a white ceiling, because now it also brightens your ambience, it brightens the model
Yes.
evenly. So that was my setup here. It's my 8600 PM and the light reflector on it.
Yeah, so it's important to have something like that dish on when you're bouncing light off a ceiling because you don't want the bare bulb to go directly at your model. So by having the
True.
dish on the light itself, it aims all of the light towards the ceiling and that light will bounce back onto your
To
model
your
again.
model.
So if you don't
Lights
have
up.
anything on the light, if it's bare bulb, then some of that stray light is going to go all over the place and it's going
Go
to
on you.
affect the overall
Facts.
look as well.
Very true. And yeah, this
Very
setup like you
underrated,
can
but little dish.
underwrite it, but yeah, it does magic. Lights up the whole body, full body, group shots. You can even fit like if you get like a venue or if you're shooting events and you have it like pointed up, you could shoot people around it. So you just have it in the middle, shoot people around it. It's very portable as well. I usually use the setup because I don't want to be carrying my huge soft box around. So usually use this when I find the opportunity.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it's always a lovely prospect, a lovely idea having a big softbox to have it with you at all times, but it's not always practical. So we need to think
Yeah,
in about different light modifiers. And as you said, bouncing light off the ceiling, that will create a big light source in itself. So you can
lights,
still get the soft, flattering light, even if you
lights
just
from
bounce
there.
light off a ceiling.
Mm.
It's about thinking on your
So
feet when you don't always have things going your way. So yes,
yeah,
bringing a big
thinking
soft
of your
box would be
feet.
lovely. You know, if you have assistants to hold on to it as well, great. But you
Yeah,
know, you'll always have those luxuries. And as I said,
jokes
kind
luxury.
of need to
Yeah,
think on your feet and yeah, think about alternatives. Right,
yeah,
so that was our little slideshow. Thank you for that. I have a couple of more
awesome.
questions to ask, but here again is an opportunity to the audience. If you have your own questions, please do drop them in the comment section. We'll see them in a little box here. Right, so we had a question early on. Let me see if I can find it. But the question was, what advice would you give to new photographers out there?
New photographers out there. I'd say YouTube is your best friend. And also look at other creatives' work. I used to do that a lot. I had to learn a lot from them, and just based off the images they take, certain example. I know at times it's daunting to look at people's work and like, Ish, I wish I was able to get that shot. How did he get the shot and all of that? But it's also inspiration for you to that you're able to do it if you keep practicing and also searching. I mean, photography is not just taking photos. There's a lot that goes into it in terms of lighting, in terms of research. It's also a profession, so you need to do a lot of research. So yeah, so always research.
Yeah, absolutely. I think on topic here, we had a question earlier on from Rampage here. Sorry uh, if you're still not with us, or not with us, Rampage. Sorry, I had to dig for this question. I think it's a very fascinating question. How would you advise beginner photographers who compete a lot and hate each other? I think this is a bit of a harsh term, but how do you compel people to collaborate a bit more?
Is it how do you advise beginner photographers to communicate with each other? Um, it's just that's going to be very difficult, but I'll just say hard. It's best to meet in person to see how the person is. And as a beginner photographer, you also have to collaborate with other, I'd say, models. There are a lot of models, upcoming models, who are trying to build a portfolio. So once you shoot that model, other photographers will look at your work, and then once you see, okay, I'm engaging. Let me see how this guy shot. DM them, talk to them. DM as much photographers as you can. So don't respond. It's not that they hate you. It's just that it gets hectic up there. So yeah, just try as much to communicate with a lot of photographers as you can, even if you don't respond.
Yeah, I think a bit of patience as well. You know, as you said, people are busy, so it's not strictly a case, but we hate each other. It's just that sometimes life gets in the way. In
Yeah.
my personal experience, I think, well, people are way more open to collaborate and also to discuss photography. It's just now and then with the outliers, you get the grumpy
Mm,
folk out there. Obviously, they will exist, they will always be part of the picture.
true.
But generally
Very true.
speaking, people love talking about photography. It's not often that we get to talk about photography.
Yeah.
This is part reason why we're doing these lives as well. It's just to great discussions around photography, and we always don't have those opportunities. It's, people don't always understand what goes in and out of a photo shoot, so it's nice to
Yeah.
pry someone else's brain on these topics as well. So,
Mm.
as said, just based on personal experience, I think people are more open to discuss
More
than
open to
what may
discuss. It's
be
just that.
perceived, what may be the case many people may think.
Mm.
Also from Rampage here. Any specific photographers or artists who have influenced your work here in SA? If so, who?
Um, uh, I feel like it's most photographers we know. Your K paparazzi, your Tats, your big photographers that you know. Most of them. Just look at the work for inspiration. Look at it. Try figure out what lighting was used. As I said, so most photographers like that and other people we already know like Peter McCann, all of those ones. So you just go through the page, look through it. Big fan of Short Stash, who who's an international photographer out there.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan of his work. He's really good with natural light. You should check him out. Influenced me a lot in the way he takes photos. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So, not only people who have influenced you, do you just have any shout outs in terms of people who have helped you out? So, this also including
Yeah.
non photographers, so people who have helped you out on your personal journey becoming this excellent photographer that you are.
Yeah, my mom especially because she supported me with my first camera. She's the one that actually bought my first camera. So it was a hustle getting that camera. It was a 2000D with a
Mm-hmm.
kit lens. Oh, but I made it work where I could. I knew its limitations, but I always try find a balance between what's good and what's bad. But yeah, my mom especially, and then my team who found me, Amukelang, Jaya, um, yeah, and the rest of my team out there, they actually keep pushing me to do good work. Chefs didn't even from yesterday.
Great stuff. Yeah, all these people are incredibly helpful in terms of our own personal journeys as well. Yeah. So, thank you for that, Jabulani. I think we have one last question from the audience. Then we can say our goodbyes. So,
Um,
can flash without a softbox achieve good lighting? So, I
yeah.
think I kind of touched on this with the bouncing off the ceiling, but if you have anything else to add.
So yeah, flash shoot out. Yeah, so the reflector works its way small. Just depends. You can't be bouncing it off a red ceiling if you want to get like nice even lighting. It's possible, but yeah, just get a white wall, bounce it off there. Your V1s, very powerful flashes, your Godox V1s, and other versions of it are good flashes. And then there's also a dome. We bought a lot from CameraStuff. We finished all the stocks.
Good man, yes.
That's
Getting soon, yeah. They sell quickly.
that's a good modifier that you could use. Yeah.
Yeah, so the golden rule here is as well, a couple of golden rules is firstly, it depends on what type of light you want to create. So just because soft boxes are often used, that doesn't mean that it's the right modifier for a particular look that you want to capture. So it all depends on what you want to capture in terms of overall look and feel and mood.
Mm,
So if you want a slightly harder light, obviously the softbox
do
won't
that
be
for you.
that useful for that. But in terms of creating a soft flattering light, you just need to think big. So the bigger
Mm,
the light source is relative to your
the better.
subject, the softer the light is going to be. So You can change the effective size of your light source by using a bigger light modifier. So bigger
Facts.
softboxes, umbrellas help here as well. So if you bounce light off a wall, you increase the size of the light to the size of the wall or the ceiling as well. So yeah, this is something to keep in mind. If you don't have a softbox, just try and shoot it through a piece of fabric just to enlarge the light source. Even a duvet cover, one that's slightly translucent, you can use that as
Does
well to
work.
soften the light. Yeah, it works. Yeah.
Facts.
So just about increasing the size of the light relative to your subject will create that soft, pleasing light. So
That's soft pleasing
softboxes are
light.
great because they're easy to move around as opposed to having a duvet cover and needing clamps and whatnot for that. Can be a bit
Or
of a
you
pain, but they work perfectly well. So it's just a case
sure.
of making the light bigger. So
Yeah.
out of all of your photos, which one is your favorite and why?
Yeah. Out of my, it's that brown one, that V flat one. I think it was the second one you showed.
Let's go back
Yeah,
a
that
little bit.
one.
This
No,
one.
no,
Oh,
go back. Yeah, that's my favorite one.
okay.
So
Any particular reason why?
why it's so this was a concept I had for like almost 2 months. So I only had the idea of the lighting, I think like a week before the shoot. I had the concept a month, like 2 months before, but I know how to light the scene. So I went to YouTube, checked it out, the props, bought some of the props, borrowed some of the props. So I invested a lot of time and research on this particular concept shoot. I still have to do some more, but this is my favorite one. This is my
Perfect.
favorite
Thank you
one.
so much, Jabulani. I think that's going to be it from our side. So thank you so much for this very insightful interview. Did a fantastic job. Plenty of nice comments from the audience as well. Thank you so much to everybody who has joined out there in Facebook and YouTube land. We do appreciate it. Do check out our YouTube and Facebook as far as future lives are concerned. We'll schedule a couple in advance. So yeah, so if you're keen on checking out more of these interviews, do subscribe to your YouTube channel or just hang around Facebook and see when the next one is happening. But yeah, Jabulani, thank you so much. Your work is incredibly inspiring, as judged from some of the comments here today. It's a lot to feel proud of. You can pat yourself on the back, and we can't wait to see more as far as your photographic journey is concerned. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
All right, so I think
Awesome.
that's going to be it from our side. So thank you to everybody watching out there. We'll see you next time. So cheers. Bye bye. We'll see you next time.